from enduring brutal torture to being murdered. This is what happens to YouTubers in prison, starting with the tragic case of Edward Muscare, who went from being a sex offender to a YouTuber and then to a prisoner who died behind bars.
You know, I think I have a short temper. I get angry very quickly, usually at frustration.
79-year-old Muscare, who was known by his 45,000 YouTube subscribers as Edarem, posted some of the weirdest yet funniest videos you could ever come across on YouTube. But before becoming a part of that community, Muscare started his entertainment career all the way back to the 1970s, being a host of a children's program, 41 Treehouse Lane, where he went by the name Uncle Ed. He also hosted a late-night show called Uncle Ed's All Night Live and a Friday night special featuring horror films from KNXV TV. But after just 1 year of working with that TV network, Muscare abruptly resigned, and the reason was as horrifying as the movies he showcased.
Well, good night.
Say, when you go to sleep tonight, dream of me.
1986, Muscare was arrested for the sexual battery of a boy. He pleaded no contest and was subsequently sentenced to 18 months in prison plus 10 years of probation. Now, after his release in 1988, Muscare failed to comply with the sex offender registration requirements in Florida, where he lived at the time, making them extend his probation terms not once, but twice. In 2006, while still on probation, Muscare launched a YouTube channel where he uploaded a variety of quirky clips and lip-sync performances. Within a short period, he posted over 100 videos. Now, despite their low production quality, his unique personality captured the attention of thousands of subscribers, who quickly became captivated by his charm. And though it seemed like Muscare was turning his life around, it would be one decision that would seal his fate. A year after creating his YouTube channel, Muscare moved out of his home in Lady Lake, Florida, claiming that he was getting harassed by neighbors who discovered that he was on a sex offender registry. He relocated to Orangeburg, South Carolina, where legally he was required to inform authorities about his sex offender status, but for some reason failed to do so. Muscare would go on national TV, arguing that sex offenders deserved a second chance, but his efforts only made Orangeburg police issue a warrant for his arrest, given that he didn't register since moving to their city. They also claimed that under South Carolina's jurisdiction, sex offenders weren't allowed to be in possession of alcohol or a computer, both of which were found in his home. However, rather than getting sent to jail, he was handed an additional 5-year probation with the condition that prohibited him from using a computer without permission. So at this point, Muscare had already gotten a loyal fan base on YouTube, and there was no way he was going to starve him of content for 5 years. So instead of uploading content himself, he got a friend to help him run his channel. Yet, prosecutors claimed he was breaching the terms of his probation, making a judge sentence him to a second jail term of 5 years. October 2011, just a year into his imprisonment, doctors discovered a tumor in Muscare's neck, and he was soon diagnosed with lung cancer. Given only 3 months to live, he defied the odds and held on, ultimately passing away on January 8, 2012. While there's still much debate about the fairness of Muscare's second imprisonment, the same can't be said for this next YouTuber, whose imprisonment wasn't only justified but inevitable after orchestrating one of the most senseless and horrifying killing sprees in modern history.
Well, there's good shows, then there's bad shows, and then there's green. So without further ado, welcome to another episode of Mr. Anime Reviews.
March 20th, 2012. Trey Sessler, better known on YouTube as Mr. Anime, committed one of the most senseless killing sprees ever known. Obsessed with dark anime and firearms, Sessler killed his entire family to hide his twisted plan to massacre 70 people at his high school's pep rally. Now, in this tragic twist, the plan never unfolded, meaning he took his family's lives for absolutely no reason. Okay, maybe that might have flown straight over your head, but don't worry, we'll explain in detail. Now, years before he even conceived that stupid idea to kill his family, Trey graduated from Waller High School, Texas, and began searching for a steady job to start his life. However, his efforts proved futile, and he ended up living with his parents in Waller County. During this time, tensions between Trey and his father escalated to the point that he realized, job or no job, he needed to get out of there. And this was the moment he decided to forge a career as a YouTuber. In September 2006, Trey launched his first channel, Lenscap Productions, where he uploaded short films and bloopers, mainly featuring himself, but occasionally including his brothers and parents. A year later, he created a new channel, Mr. Anime, and shifted his focus to reviewing anime series and movies. So now during this period, Trey developed an unhealthy obsession with dark anime and guns, a fixation that grew as the shows and movies he reviewed often had disturbing themes. By 2011, he began openly posing with firearms in his videos. Using his YouTube revenue, Trey was finally able to move out of his parents' house, and this move gave him the freedom to fully indulge in his obsession with guns, and he surrounded himself with lots, and I mean lots of them. Trey would eventually become fascinated with infamous school shooters like the Columbine attackers, who killed 12 students and a teacher before taking their own lives, as well as notorious serial killers like Ted Bundy. He would go as far as to even download a satellite map of his old school to plan a massacre. Now, his plan was to ram his car through the school's gates and courtyard, and then unleash gunfire on as many people as possible with a .22 assault rifle he had purchased. Rumors started swirling around that Trey was using live animals, including his pet rabbit, as target practice. His fanbase also noticed a disturbing shift in his content, as his anime reviews gave way to videos about guns and shooting techniques.
Oh, how you doing, everyone? It's Mr. Anime. Or you can call me Trey. You can call me the guy that does the video game reviews. You can call me the guy that does all the gun stuff now.
Now fast forward to the day before he planned his attack on Wally High School. Trey just left a chilling goodbye message in his final YouTube video titled, "Mr. Anime is planning something."
This is just an update video to let you guys know that I'm going to reward myself with probably a 2 or 3 week break coming up here from YouTube videos.
Later in the day, Trey drank heavily and armed himself with a lot of firearms before heading to his parents' home. He called his mother into the garage, asking if he could have some help. And when she got there, he shot her 4 times, leaving the garage soaked in her blood. His brother Mark heard the gunshots and rushed to the garage, only to be shot by Trey as well. Mark wouldn't die immediately, so Trey followed him to a corner and finished him off there. Trey then walked to his father's bedroom, where he shot his sleeping father dead. By this point, the neighbors had reported suspicious noises coming from the Sessler home, and when police arrived, they found the grisly crime scene. But Trey was nowhere to be found. He became the prime suspect after police discovered a remorseful message he had scrawled on a door. A manhunt was launched, and Trey was apprehended while preparing to carry out his school massacre. In his car, they found about 100 rounds of ammunition and a High-Point Model 995 carbine rifle, the same type of rifle used by the Columbine shooters in 1999. We get it. He wanted to be an infamous school shooter. Why did he have to kill his family to do that? Well, when interrogators asked that same question, Trey said that he only killed his family because he didn't want them to be ashamed of him for carrying out the school shooting. I mean, really, Trey? Probably the dumbest excuse to kill a family, but that's not just us saying it. Many members of his community and fellow YouTubers were in denial of his actions, with some even claiming that he was probably covering up for somebody else. But after pleading guilty to 3 counts of capital murder, all doubts were cleared, and Trey was subsequently sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Now, given that his actions were premeditated, some argued that he should have been given the death penalty, but nonetheless, Trey's life behind bars has been fulfilling for him. He's currently incarcerated at the Charles T. Terrell Unit, a Texas Department of Criminal Justice facility in unincorporated Brazoria County, Texas. As one of the most notorious inmates there, he remains under close surveillance by prison officials. However, this doesn't seem to bother him. Trey believes that whatever happens to him inside those walls is a punishment he rightfully deserves. Now, the same, though, can't be said about Russian YouTuber and musician Pavel Kushner, who not only got tortured in prison, but ended up dying in there as well. all because he opposed the Russian government. Now this one's up for debate. You let us know if he made a smart move. Kushner ran a small YouTube channel called Foreign Agent Mulder, which had just 5 subscribers and 4 videos. The name was taken from FBI agent Fox Mulder from his favorite show, The X-Files, and a nod to Russia's foreign agent law. In some of his videos, he would call Putin's Russia a fascist state and refer to the 2022 Bucha massacre of Ukrainian civilians as a disgrace to our homeland. And for that, he'd be arrested and detained by the Federal Security Service of Russia for his contents, marking the beginning of his eventual demise. But before becoming a political activist, Kushner was just a young boy, living in Tambov, a provincial capital 300 miles from Moscow. Kushner would come from a Jewish family, with both of his parents working as music teachers at different schools. This environment inspired him to start playing the piano at just 2 years old, eventually leading him to music school in Tambov. In 2002, Pavel graduated from Tambov Music College and then enrolled at the Moscow Conservatory, where he began his journey into activism. Alongside a friend, he staged a unique protest during a heat wave by walking around the city in winter attire. For a poetry event, he even wrote verses in the fictional Na'vi language from the film Avatar. From 2011 to 2013, he was deeply involved in the protests at the Boltnaya Square, also participating in demonstrations against the conflict in Donbass and opposed the annexation of Crimea in 2014. Following Russia's special military operation in 2022, he went ahead to distribute anti-war pamphlets in Kursk and Birobidzhan. Now, he thought it was a genius idea to take all that information and put it on his YouTube channel, but obviously the authorities caught wind of it, resulting in his arrest under charges of public calls for terrorist activity. Now, while in custody, Kushner stood firm against the Russian government's power, going on a hunger strike until he was released. Well, they didn't care, and that hunger strike led to his death on the 5th day. This guy would become the first political prisoner in contemporary Russia to die as a result of a hunger strike, though. But his friends suspected that he was subjected to violence while in jail, especially after this Telegram channel linked to the Secret Service's operational reports, which shared a video showing masked individuals escorting Kushner into a white minivan. So maybe he wasn't killed by his hunger strike. Maybe Russian authorities had a hand in his death. Or maybe, just maybe, the mother of fellow YouTuber, Savukku Shankar, wasn't lying when she said her son got beat up real badly in prison for exposing corrupt governments, politicians, and judges in India. Now, Savukku Shankar, also known as Achimuthu Shankar, is a former lower division clerk who found himself at the center of a storm after being arrested in 2008 for allegedly leaking a recording between 2 IAS officials. Now, this chat was about a corruption investigation that could have put 2 very important Indian administrative service leaders in prison. And once the audio got out, it led to a big investigation by the Tamil Nadu government. Shankar was accused of illegally accessing a computer to download the audio file and share it with the media. He firmly denied these claims, though, insisting that they were false and that he was fighting them in court. He said he faced harsh treatment while in custody, being pressured to testify against other officials. Eventually, he got out on bail, but the battle was far from over. Fast forward to February 2017, when a court acquitted him, saying the prosecution didn't have enough evidence to support their case. And that should have been the end of it, right? Well, not quite, because in September 2022, Shankar landed back in hot water. The Madras High Court sentenced him to 6 months in jail for contempt of court after he made bold statements claiming that the judiciary was corrupt. He stood by his comments, asking for more time to respond without backing down. The court found him guilty, dismissed him from his job, and ordered the removal of his controversial interviews online. Then, while he was in jail, more charges were piled on him. But the Supreme Court stepped in here and suspended the contempt ruling. He finally got released on bail later that November. So now it's over, right? Wrong. In May 2024, Shankar was arrested yet again for making derogatory comments about female police officers during an interview. The police vehicle transporting him even got into an accident on the way to his new arrest location, leaving him and 2 officers with minor injuries. And now, while in jail awaiting his court hearing, his mother claimed that Shankar was brutally attacked by prison guards with a steel pipe, fracturing his right hand and causing other injuries. She also claimed that this attack was carried out with the full knowledge of the higher-ups in prison, thereby violating his fundamental rights protected by the Constitution. I mean, for a guy who has over 500,000 subscribers on YouTube and a prominent website where he exposes the stories of corrupt politicians. You'd expect him to be some type of bona fide journalist that can't be messed with. Yeah, that notion's wrong. But not every YouTuber ends up behind bars for voicing political opinions. Some go to jail for leading double lives. Take Liam Goodenough, for example, a passionate Arsenal fan by day, but a relentless stalker by night.
What happened on that night as to why I received my prison sentence, I will not be going and having a conversation about that on camera. I will not be addressing it. I will not be speaking about it.
42-year-old Goodenough became infamous for stalking and kidnapping his former partner. In one disturbing incident, he used a tracking feature on her phone to locate her at a hotel while she was on a date. So consumed by jealousy, he verbally abused her and assaulted her companion. He also photographed her in a state of duress and dragged her out of the hotel room to his car, claiming he had a knife and that her son was inside the vehicle. When the victim realized her son wasn't in the car, she tried to escape. Fortunately, a bystander intervened, and she was able to flee, while Goodenough escaped the scene. In November 2021, Aylesbury Crown Court convicted Liam of stalking involving serious alarm or distress and kidnapping. He was sentenced to 12 months in prison and given a 10-year restraining order. Now, Goodenough, also known by his handle, Mr. DT, first gained prominence for his passionate rants about Arsenal Football Club or AFTV, where he built a large fan base. However, after his conviction, AFTV released a statement expressing their shock and disgust at his actions. They confirmed that Goodenough would no longer have any involvement with the channel, cutting all ties with him. And furthermore, his 12-month sentence was increased to 3 years, due to the fact that his former sentence was unduly lenient, according to court documents. Imagine hoping to get released in 10 to 12 months only for your sentence to get tripled? Well, lucky enough for him though, he did get an early release, allowing him to go back to posting videos and Premier League analysis on his YouTube channel, which has now grown to over 258,000 subscribers. However, his criminal record has followed him, leading to a significant public backlash. But if public backlash was all this next YouTuber, Daniel Sancho had to face, he might have considered himself fortunate compared to the legal storm that now surrounds him.
The son of Spanish actor Rodolfo Sancho Aguirre has been detained in Thailand in connection with the death and dismemberment of a Colombian man on the tourist island of Koh Phangan.
It's August 2023, and 30-year-old YouTube chef Daniel Sancho meets up with 44-year-old Colombian plastic surgeon Edwin Arrieta Artiega on the Thai holiday island of Koh Phangan for what was supposed to be a vacation. Now, the two had connected on Instagram a year prior and eventually developed a romantic relationship. While it's unclear whether they both planned to meet specifically at that island, Koh Phangan is renowned for its full moon beach parties, which draw travelers from all over the world for those all-night raves. But for these two, it was a getaway that took a dark turn. You see, one morning, Bronchalo reported Arrieta missing to the police, triggering this investigation. Authorities quickly found surveillance footage showing Bronchalo purchasing suspicious items like a knife, gloves, garbage bags, and cleaning solutions, just before Arrieta was last seen on the island. Soon after, dismembered body parts belonging to Arrieta were found scattered across the area, both on land and at sea, making Bronchalo the prime suspect. So Daniel was taken into custody, where he confessed to the murder. He straight up claimed that he had premeditated this act because Arrieta had allegedly threatened to expose their relationship, which he feared would disgrace his family. Bronchalo's family is very famous in Spain. Both his parents, Rodolfo Sancho Aguirre and Silvia Bronchalo, are prominent and renowned actors in that country. And get this, his mother was also charged with aiding to conceal the body. Now, during his trial, Bronchalo later changed his story, claiming that he and Arrieta got into an argument before Arrieta had tried to sexually assault him, leading to, wait for it, Arrieta to trip, hit his head on a bathtub, and die instantly. Now, interestingly, Daniel Bronchalo pled not guilty to premeditated murder, but he did admit to dismembering his body and scattering the remains. Facing a capital murder charge now, Bronchalo was initially sentenced to death. Spain was devastated with this news, drawing so much attention that HBO had to produce a Spanish documentary covering this tragic event. The case not only destroyed him, but also severely damaged his parents' reputations as well. However, just when it seemed his fate was sealed, a twist occurred. Due to his cooperation during the trial, the Koh Samui Provincial Court reduced his sentence to life imprisonment. He was to hand over 4.2 million baht, approximately $125,000 in compensation to Arieta's family, while the victim's family really had sought 30 million baht, around $882,000, but the court ultimately ruled for a significantly lower amount.
ก็ถือว่าทางครอบครัวได้รับความเป็นธรรมแล้วนะคะเพราะจำเลยก็ได้รับโทษจำคุกตลอดชีวิตแล้วก็ได้รับการชดใช้ค่าเสียหาย
You might say that the judge showed Bronchalo some leniency, but that's a luxury Amable Karasira, a Rwandan YouTuber, didn't get. This guy was arrested for voicing opinions on YouTube that authorities deemed unacceptable. May 2021, the Rwanda Investigation Bureau detained Amable on allegations of denying and justifying the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Karasira was also accused of promoting division among the Rwandan people, but how true are these claims? Known for his critical stance, made known through his YouTube channel, Karasira consistently questioned the Rwandan government on matters like poverty and human rights violations. He would gain prominence in Rwanda in 2009 as a rapper whose music criticized the regime. Over time, he would appear in various interviews and eventually launch his own YouTube channel called Ukuri Bona, which translates to The Truth as I See It. In 2020, after over 12 years of teaching, Karasira was fired from the University of Rwanda with accusations that he was inciting people to disrespect public institutions. He was arrested back in 2021 and is currently being held at Nyarugenge prison. While in this prison, he's been through severe torture, including sleep deprivation, constant exposure to bright lights and loud music, and even physical beatings. These punishments are meant to break him. Additionally, he's been denied medical treatment for his diabetes and mental health issues, and is often deprived of food. In his words, he said,
"The prison guards brought me here by force. I've gone for days without sleeping. I don't know how to explain the torture I've been subjected to."
Pardon me for digressing, but to truly grasp the gravity of the danger Karasira might be facing, you need to know about another Rwandan YouTuber who was arrested shortly after him and has since disappeared. Vitaly, a 31-year-old poet and singer, vanished just days after his last known sighting. Like Karasira, Vitaly used YouTube to highlight the poverty and hardships in Rwanda. Now, no one knows where he is or even if he's still alive, and if action isn't taken in Karasira's case, he may face a similar tragic fate. Now next we have to discuss one of the most disturbing cases involving a well-known YouTuber. Although we lack specific details about her time in prison, we'd be doing you a huge injustice by not including her story in this video.
Popular Utah family vlogger Ruby Franke was arrested Wednesday. The 41-year-old mother of 6 is known for sharing clips of her children's daily lives on their now defunct YouTube channel.
August 30th, 2023. A boy in Utah, covered in open wounds, knocked on a neighbor's door seeking food and water. He had just escaped from a nearby house, managing to climb out of the window and flee while still having duct tape around his ankles. The young boy was coming from a famous YouTuber's house, known as Ruby Franke. For many, Franke's arrest was anticipated, considering the hundreds of videos she had posted over the years that drew criticism for her strict parenting methods. Now, she was the creator of the 8 Passengers YouTube channel, which debuted back in 2015, coinciding with a surge in popularity for family vlogging channels, a genre that was quickly monetizing on the platform. So within a year, her videos would attract tens of thousands of views, and at that time she shared with local news that documenting her family life allowed her to live in the present and just enjoy the kids. Her edited videos provided a glimpse into her life, portraying a typical Mormon suburban family engaged in homeschooling, cooking, eating, and enjoying conversations together. However, some moments in her videos raised concerns. Like this one video, Franke was seen warning her sons that they would lose the privilege to eat dinner if they continued their play fighting. In this other clip, she stated that her daughter needed to go hungry for forgetting her lunch at school. Yeah, a lot of people criticize the way she disciplined her kids. But despite facing criticism, the Frankes maintain their strict parenting style, and their audience continued to grow, garnering over 2.5 million subscribers. Now, it wouldn't take long before that began to fall. In a 2020 video, Franke's son revealed that his bedroom had been taken away for 7 months as punishment for playing pranks on his sibling. During that time, he slept on a beanbag. Franke explained in that same video that her son had demonstrated he couldn't manage having a bedroom, and was given options like a guest bed or an inflatable mattress. Now, while the tone of their discussion was light, with both Franke and her other child giggling at the story, many viewers found the incident unsettling. A petition calling for an investigation quickly gained thousands of signatures, and Child Protective Services were contacted. So this in turn would spark a wave of content from YouTube and TikTok users who would make their own videos about the family, some of which have garnered millions of views. Older clips, including those where Franke discussed withholding meals as a form of punishment, resurfaced and caught the media's attention again. The controversy surrounding Ruby Franke ultimately led to the downfall of the 8 Passengers channel. They went from daily uploading to gradually 2 to 3 videos a week, until the channel was eventually deleted. Despite this, Franke remained active online. In June 2022, she launched a new advice channel called Connections with her business partner and counselor, Edarem. Franke had previously claimed that her YouTube success had made her millions, but she stated that she left that profitable world to focus on saving her children. Their shared Instagram account, Moms of Truth, featured parenting advice, encouraging followers to steer clear of coping strategies meant to distract from the pain and discomfort of reality or truth. However, what is this reality and truth they're talking about? The coping strategies discourage social media, exercise, and even socializing in general. But anyway, she and her business partner Edarem were arrested after Franke's malnourished son escaped their home. Just days later, both women were charged with 6 counts of child abuse. And now Franke faces 4 consecutive sentences ranging from 1 to 15 years in prison, meaning she must serve at least 4 years. While the maximum possible sentence is 60 years, Utah limits the total time for consecutive sentences to 30 years, unless life imprisonment or the death penalty applies. The exact length of her sentence will be determined by the Utah Board of Pardons and Parole. Now, we're sure you'll agree with us that the case of Franke is very despicable to even imagine. But the case of Vitalized TV left no missing details due to the sheer depravity of the actions committed. In 2020, Vitaly pushed the limits once again, treating his fans to yet another wild stunt. This time, he shared a now-deleted Instagram post of his feet hanging over the edge of the Pyramid of Giza, with the iconic structure looming in the background. He captioned,
"No words can explain what I went through these past 5 days. I was locked up in Egypt for climbing the pyramids of Giza. I've been to jail many times, but this was by far the worst. I witnessed horrible things, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone."
Vitaly followed up on his Instagram stories, sharing more pictures of the climb. In this one image, 2 figures could be seen scaling the pyramid. He labeled one as me and pointed at the other with "Catch me if you can," implying the second figure was security going after him. Later on his YouTube channel, which boasted over 10 million subscribers, Vitaly uploaded a video of the entire stunt.
"Stop the war, help Australia, let's raise money. I did this for a good cause."
Now, if you're wondering how scaling the pyramids of Giza somehow ties into a war in Australia, so are we. And to add to the confusion, the risky climb happened despite Egypt's 2019 law that anyone caught climbing antiquities without permission could face at least 1 month in jail and a fine ranging from $600 to $6,000. So, in hindsight, Vitaly should probably feel kinda lucky he only spent 5 days behind bars. And although he claims the experience was worth it, the video's relatively low 1.1 million views suggest otherwise, especially compared to his usual YouTube numbers. But finally, not all YouTubers really have a rough time behind bars. Let's check out Logan Paul, who barely got a taste of it. After his arrest, he was released in under 2 hours, avoiding the full prison experience altogether.
I feel like we need to spice it up a little bit. I understand drone shots here are illegal, so let's definitely do that.
Now, this was one of those classic moments where Logan Paul, staying true to his impulsive nature, made a decision that landed him behind bars in Italy. Logan hardly needs an introduction here. He and his brother Jake first shot to fame in 2013, posting skits on Vine, the now defunct video sharing app. After Vine's closure, Logan transitioned to YouTube, launching his first channel, The Official Logan Paul, in October 2013, where he began posting regular vlogs. And as his following grew, he created Logan Paul Vlogs, which has since become his most popular channel, now boasting over 20 23 million subs and nearly 6 billion views. However, while he was climbing fame, Logan had his fair share of controversies, one of which involved his arrest in Italy. September 30th, 2017, Logan uploads a video titled, "I got arrested by Italian police, not clickbait," documenting the incident. In the video, Logan and Jake are on a trip to Italy when they decide to fly drones near the Colosseum in Rome. However, things take a turn when one of those drones malfunctions and crash lands near the historic monument. The Italian police and military were quickly called in, questioning the brothers before taking Logan into custody. At a point in the video, Logan can be heard talking to someone who appears to be law enforcement, adding tension to the scene.
What's up, G?
The fly of a drone in this area is illegal.
No bueno.
We must arrest you for this.
Okay.
His friend then takes over the vlog, confirming that Logan had been arrested, with footage showing him at the police station. Logan's friend Andy eventually comes to pick him up. But just as things get interesting, the video fades to black, leaving only audio to reveal the final moments. In the end, Logan was released, and his drone returned to him. True to form, he wasted no time bragging about his arrest in typical Logan Paul fashion.
Yo, I'm a savage, bro.
My boy Logan.
No, I went to jail, bro. I've been in jail, bro.